On the morning of September 11, 2001, the world changed forever. At 8:46 a.m., the first of 4 hijacked planes, American Airlines Flight 11, crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City. 18 minutes later, United Airlines Flight 175 slammed into the South Tower, creating a scene of horror that would soon grip the entire planet. The attacks were not just acts of terrorism, they were a coordinated assault on the fabric of American life, masterminded by al-Qaeda, led by Osama bin Laden. What followed was nothing short of chaos. Both towers, once proud symbols of New York's skyline, crumbled to the ground within 2 hours of being struck, sending plumes of dust and debris cascading over the city. Thousands of people were trapped inside, fighting for their lives as first responders, firefighters, police, and paramedics rushed into the burning buildings in an attempt to save as many as they could. Heroes emerged that day, but many lost their lives in the process, their bravery immortalized in the hearts of millions. As this was happening, another plane, American Airlines Flight 77, crashed into the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. at 9:37 a.m., tearing a gaping hole in the U.S. Department of Defense's headquarters. The message was clear. The attacks were designed to target the very pillars of American power, its economy, its defense, and its government. But the horror didn't end there. United Airlines Flight 93, the 4th hijacked plane, was headed for another high-profile target, possibly the U.S. Capitol or the White House. However, the passengers aboard Flight 93, having learned of the earlier attacks via phone calls, heroically fought back against the hijackers. Their struggle caused the plane to crash into a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, at 10:03 a.m., killing everyone on board but preventing further devastation. Their bravery in the face of certain death remains one of the most poignant stories to emerge from that tragic day. In total, nearly 3,000 people died on September 11th, making it the deadliest terrorist attack in human history. The impact was immediate and far-reaching. The U.S. was plunged into mourning, but also into action. Within days, President George W. Bush declared a global war on terror. The first military target was Afghanistan, where al-Qaeda was based under the protection of the Taliban. Within weeks, the U.S. and its allies invaded, toppling the Taliban regime and beginning a years-long hunt for Osama bin Laden, who would eventually be found and killed by U.S. Navy SEALs in Pakistan in 2011. Domestically, life changed as well. The attacks prompted the largest reorganization of U.S. government agencies in decades, leading to the creation of the Department of Homeland Security. The USA Patriot Act was passed, giving the government sweeping new powers to surveil and intercept communications in the name of national security. Airports worldwide instituted strict new security measures, and the world became accustomed to long lines, extensive screenings, and a new era of vigilance. In New York, the site where the Twin Towers once stood became sacred ground. The 9/11 Memorial now honors the victims, with 2 enormous reflecting pools set in the footprints of the original towers. The 9/11 Museum tells the story of that fateful day, ensuring that future generations understand both the tragedy and the heroism that defined it. 9/11 wasn't just an attack on the United States, it was an assault on the idea of peace and safety in the modern world. It forever altered how nations perceive security and brought the threat of terrorism to the forefront of global consciousness. The attacks were a grim reminder that no country is invulnerable, and that even the most powerful nations can be struck at their core. Despite the horror, 9/11 also revealed the resilience of the human spirit. In the days following the attacks, there was an outpouring of unity and compassion, not just in the United States but around the globe. People from all walks of life came together to offer help, prayers, and support. First responders were hailed as heroes, and ordinary citizens became symbols of courage. In the face of terror, the world showed that it could come together to rebuild, heal, and stand strong. Today, we continue to remember and reflect on the events of September 11th. The day serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of life, but also of the enduring strength of humanity in the face of unspeakable tragedy. The legacy of 9/11 is not just the sorrow of what was lost, but the unity and resilience that emerged in its aftermath.